Hello, everyone. Welcome to History with Hersefat. I'm your host, Chris, aka Hersefat. Today, I'll be speaking with a couple of friends, Brad and Nick, about the year 2005. The views shared on this podcast come from ordinary people who've lived through these events. My hope is that it'll give a unique perspective on history. How are you guys this afternoon? You taking care of
Doing
yourselves?
good.
Doing well? Doing
Yeah.
well? Good stuff.
Taking great care of myself.
I love to
Thank
hear
you.
it. Love to hear it.
Feel good.
Future podcasts next week. We should be doing the year 2006, but we might switch it up to the current event, the current issue which is going on. The abortion debate is back again, or it's at least at the front of the line. An article from Politico revealed that the Supreme Court's majority opinion was overturning Roe v. Wade, and for me, I wasn't shocked because if you've been paying attention even remotely, you should know that we've gotten a handful of what do you say? What do you call it? I don't know. Crazy, just outlandish. There's no reason that they shouldn't be Supreme Court, judges.
Uh, pure
Mhm.
puritanical.
Puritanical, fanatical. Let's go with that.
Mhm.
Fanatical. Where their whole reason for being on the Supreme Court was to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so when an article comes out, just leaking the opinion of the court, the majority at least, it, I guess it shocked everyone else. Didn't shock me. It was still left. It's still up to We'll see if it indeed happens. There's a good deal of evidence suggested that it will in June, when they are reviewing a case about that issue, and will make a ruling on it. So by June, Roe v. Wade, governments, not to make abortions illegal. 50 years, 49 years it's been around now, is going to be overturned, it looks like, in June. So, I mean, that's a big.
It's
I mean, that,
awful.
yeah, there's a
It's
number.
it's such a terrible idea. I mean, there are so many things that can come from that are really, really bad. And the thing is that the right is just not ready to talk about the consequences that come with that sort of ideology. Um, there's a lot down the road that can come from that, and there are plenty of other things they can overturn as well that everyone's worried about.
Yeah,
But
because
we don't really want to get into that.
right, because
Right now.
the thought is that if they overturn Roe v. Wade, then the next thing is something else. I mean, this stood for 50 years. It looks like it's going to be reversed. Something that's only been around for 5. There's a good chance of it being reversed as
Right.
well. So,
Yep.
any sort of
and
progress that's been made, yeah.
Right, and then the states got to go back, or they can go back to, because it's not federal now. They can just go back to their own law. So, like Wisconsin, for example, I think it's maybe a few years after they became a state. So this is way back in like the 1850s or something. I'm not sure what exactly year, 1840s, 1850s, something like that. Um, Not too long after they became a state, they have an abortion law that is still in effect today if Roe v. Wade is overturned. So that's 150 years, 160 years ago.
Damn.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, the obvious, right off the bat, you overturn Roe v. Wade, you make abortions illegal. It's not going to stop people from getting abortions. They're just not going to
Right.
be safe.
Right.
Overturning abortions, making it illegal. The obvious, again, of if it's a no starter pregnancy, if the baby will die and also kill the mother. The thought here by overturning Roe v. Wade is that it's best to lose both lives. So instead of just getting the abortion and trying again, no, that's too much. So it's lacking. The thing is, it's also interesting because it's 80 some odd percent of Americans support abortion in the sense of not making it illegal.
Right.
The only group that was a part of this survey, the only group that scored in the even of like not just above, like they were in the 80% as well, or maybe I mix it, yeah, but they were also way up there. Evangelicals, Christians are the main uh, main engine that turns this wheel here that
Right.
is pushing the Roe
Mhm.
v. Wade, overturning, Roe v. Wade, and
Yep.
that's their whole
And
thing.
it's the danger of letting theological ideas run your country,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just the beginning.
Yep.
And it could happen with any religion, and it's always dangerous regardless, since obviously you can argue some are more
Mm-hmm.
so than others. But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk more about Roe v. Wade. We'll just have like a whole podcast dedicated to it in lieu of what's happening. Seems like a good time to do it. I'll stop. We'll move on here, but I will finish with saying that there is a cure for poverty. It had eluded people for a very long time, but it was discovered within the past 15 years or so that it's colloquially called the empowerment of women, and it's the official position of the UN. So when they go to third world countries and whatnot to help the culture, civilization, thrive and get off the floor, it always starts with giving women the ability to not be pregnant every year, and every 9 months getting pregnant again. If you give them control over that, and if you hand the people some money and some food, the whole floor rises, and it works for that reason. And it is the only thing that cures poverty, and it's always the clergy that stands in the way of that, because they preach the exact opposite a great deal because of it. So, but we will get into that another time. As we go around now, we will move now to January 1st of 2005. Gianna Giese, or Geise, Giese, Gianna Giese, comes home from the hospital and officially becomes the first person to ever survive rabies without a vaccination. Sadly, putting that tidbit of information in her dating profile did not yield the results she was looking for. Yeah, the interesting thing is I think they put her in a medically induced coma.
Yes.
So it was that's kind of how they circumvented that. But yes, as we move on now to January 20th, George W. Bush is inaugurated for a second term. I don't know if we can throw some Bushisms here. I've got one right now.
Always with the Bushisms.
Gotta do them. There's so many
gotta
of
have
them.
The Bushisms, man. You gotta.
My Bushism for his his inaugurating for a second term is our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we. So that's my Bushism for January 20th.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
okay. On
good.
February 10th, North Korea announces that it has nuclear weapons as a means of protection from the U.S. North Korea would also announce that it had amassed a collection of George Bush cardboard cutouts to create the world's largest voodoo doll. On February 20th, Hunter S. Thompson dies by self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Rolling Stone published what fellow author Douglas Brinkley described as a suicide note written by Thompson to his wife, titled "Football Season is Over." It read, "No more games, no more bombs, no more walking, no more fun, no more swimming. 67. That is 17 years past 50. 17 more than I needed or wanted. Boring. I am always bitchy. No fun for anybody. 67. You are getting greedy. Act your age. Relax. This won't hurt." Hunter S. Thompson, one of my favorite people ever. Just fascinating individual. Just the life that he lived. He what he said. He walks the walk and he talks the talk and walks the walk, whatever it is. He did both. I mean, living with the Hells Angels, to write about the Hells Angels, the things that he saw, while he was writing that book, or just, I mean, you'll have to read the book, but it's wow, just some crazy shit. His following of the, what was it, the 1972 or whatever it was, the Democratic National Convention. He was there in Chicago. I believe Netflix did a series about it. It was the Chicago 7, I think is what it was called, or something along those lines. He was there watching all that go down. I have a few Hunter quotes of mine that I really enjoy, that I will share with you. I'll start with the first one there. And this is from the Rum Diary. This is Hunter S. Thompson from the book The Rum Diary. It says, like most others, I was a seeker, a mover, a malcontent, and at times a stupid hellraiser. I was never idle long enough to do much thinking, but I felt somehow that some of us were making real progress, that we had taken an honest road, and that the best of us would inevitably make it over the top. At the same time, I shared a dark suspicion that the life we were leading was a lost cause, that we were all actors, kidding ourselves along on a senseless odyssey. It was the tension between these two poles, a restless idealism on one hand and a sense of impending doom on the other, that kept me going. That's probably one of my favorite excerpts from one of his books. I have another one where music has always been a matter of energy to me, a question of fuel. Sentimental people call it inspiration, but what they really mean is fuel. I have always needed fuel. I am a serious consumer. On some nights, I still believe that a car with a gas needle on empty can run about 50 miles more if you have the right music very loud on the radio. And my last one will be, this is from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Maybe it meant something, maybe not. In the long run, but no explanation, no mix of words or music or memories can touch that sense of knowing that you were there and alive in that corner and time of the world, whatever it meant. And that will be my Hunter quotes. I advise you to, or encourage you, I should say, to check out Hunter S. Thompson. Just a really interesting individual. Do you guys have any personal favorites of a Hunter? Anything that...
I just remember when he died, didn't he want his ashes to be like blasted over a mountain in a rocket?
Yeah, it was shot out of a cannon.
And they did it. Yeah, shot out of a cannon.
Yeah,
That's
Johnny
pretty sweet.
Depp paid for the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess he was good friends with him. Of course, he played him in the movie.
I think he probably did. Yeah.
And two movies too.
Yeah, Rum Diaries.
Rum Diaries.
Yeah. Oh, I never saw that.
Um,
and then Bill Murray played him in Where the Wild Buffalo Roam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Which I enjoyed that too, because that was Peter Boyle as the lawyer as well.
Yeah. And some people say he did spend too much time. Johnny Depp spent too much time playing Hunter S. Thompson, as he kind of became him later on in life. He's just gonna talk like this, all the time. All the time.
Definitely.
Get out of the way, you bastards.
And then Captain Jack Sparrow kind of cemented that.
Yeah.
Now that's just who he is now.
He lost it. I guess it's better than maybe Edward Scissorhands. That would just been weird. Just this bug-eyed blank stare. Just walking like a robot.
He never got over that role.
He really wasn't born to play.
Always carrying scissors around.
Eventually, he just chopped off his own hands and decided to replace them. Yes. On April 2nd, Pope John Paul II dies. Over 4 million people travel to the Vatican to mourn him. Pope Benedict XVI succeeds him on April 19th, becoming the 265th Pope. On the February 11th of 2013, Benedict unexpectedly announces his resignation in a speech in Latin before the cardinals, citing a lack of strength of mind and body due to his advanced age. His resignation became effective on the February 28th of 2013. Pope Benedict is the first pope to resign since Gregory XII in 1415. We all remember that. And the first to do so on his own initiative since Celestine V in 1294. But yeah, that's a crazy gap between that happening. 1415 was the last time a pope resigned, in 1294, the first one to do it since on their own initiative. That's crazy. That's I mean that's a job that apparently no one gives up until they're dead. Yeah, you're just doing this. It's basically like you're getting in a coffin when you take that job. You're riding this one out. He was also
job security.
Pope Benedict. Benedict was also the only pope to sport a fedora and Crocs in place of the usual attire. April 23rd.
Was Pope Benedict the one? Was Pope Benedict the one that looked like the Emperor from Star Wars?
Yes, and he was also a member of the Hitler Youth.
That all makes sense. So he resigned because he needed to go build a Death Star somewhere.
And the pedophile ring cover-up. I think that helped out too. Yeah,
right. That thing.
On April 23rd, the first video ever is uploaded to YouTube. The video was titled "Me at the Zoo." Immediately following the upload, Jawed Karim, the co-founder of YouTube, made an abundance of hand motions while demanding that everyone like and subscribe. On March 29th, Mitch Hedberg dies of an overdose. His death would be announced on April 1st, leading many to assume it was an April Fool's joke. One of my favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes, if you guys have one, go ahead, but mine is, I'm sick of following my dreams. I'm just going to ask where they're going and hook up with them later.
That's a good one. There's one.
Fettuccine Alfredo is just macaroni and cheese for adults.
He's got. He said he's got belt loops on his pants. He's got a belt holding up his pants. He's like, who's really doing the work down there?
I like where he's like, another one is, rice is good if you're really hungry and you want 2,000 or something.
Any book is a children's book if the kid can read.
Oh God, yeah. It's is a hippopotamus opotamus or just a really cool oh fuck, I fucked that up. Nah, I'm sorry. Yeah, damn it.
I get where you were going with it.
Yes. I know that joke. Yeah.
It's really good. It's something like hippopotamus. I'm not even bothered with it. If you look it up, it's much better. On May 21st, Kingda Ka is open for the first time to the public at Six Flags Great Adventure. Sorry. Yes, in New Jersey, becoming the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster. A distinction it would hold until the much maligned coaster, One Way Ticket to Heaven, was built and subsequently demolished, rebuilt, and renamed Fast Track to Hell. August 29th, Hurricane Katrina makes landfall along the U.S. Gulf Coast, causing severe damage and killing over 1,000 people and dealing an estimated $108 billion in damage. The emergency response from federal, state, and local governments was widely criticized, resulting in the resignations of the FEMA director, Michael D. Brown, and the New Orleans Police Department Superintendent, Eddie Compass. Many other government officials were criticized for their response, especially New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin, Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanco, I believe is white and Mexican or Spanish. And President George W. Bush, while several agencies, including the United States Coast Guard, National Hurricane Center, and National Weather Service, were commended for their actions. The United States response to 9/11 was focused solely on homeland security. Governmental organizations such as FEMA and the EPA were gutted and left to fend for themselves. Such as it is, the response to Hurricane Katrina was severely inhibited by the lack of funding and provisions that would otherwise have been there. And for this, I have another Bushism. For every fatal shooting, there were roughly 3 non-fatal shootings. And folks, this is unacceptable in America. It's just unacceptable. And we're going to do something about it. So just to get that right, for every... You just want to make sure everyone gets shot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Hurricane... Fatally, yes. Hurricane Katrina is, yeah. I remember, obviously, I don't live anywhere near Louisiana or New Orleans or any of that stuff, so just watching this all unfold on the news, and I was unaware that I just assumed that the government was going to show up, but no, they took their sweet time, and large part of that is because they had nothing to help them out with. They gutted that entire organization that would take care of that. And I remember, obviously, people will more than likely, of all the things in Hurricane Katrina, people remember it's Kanye West and Mike Myers,
yes,
doing that thing, and
yes.
Kanye's, George Bush does not care about black people, and Mike Myers is just looking straight.
Mike Myers is just, he's just staring off.
It's like, what?
Yes. So yeah, it's crazy. I think it's 80% of the city was flooded. The levees, as soon as those broke, just people stranded, bodies floating in the streets. In America, they spent so much time. It's like having your eyes. You're just so focused on something in front of you, you don't even notice what really needs help. What's in need. Back home. So it's not shocking. It's just tragic. It's sad, and it didn't have to be. This is another instance of, had Al Gore been the president as opposed to George Bush, would this have happened? No. I would no, it
not
wouldn't.
at all.
Well, the hurricane still would have happened, but
well, yeah, of course,
maybe.
Well, actually, maybe not. Al Gore,
he may have his whole.
Yeah, he may have fixed climate change, and that hurricane never would have happened.
Right. He did also invent the internet. So
yeah.
There's got to be something.
Alternate timeline.
So Hurricane Katrina, just a complete disaster for the Bush administration. Another one in a long line of disasters. And I remember when he finally showed his face in New Orleans, Bush, he did so by flying in his Air Force One above the city, circled it to just look at the everyone down below before he decided to land.
He stuck his hand out the window.
He threw some paper towels
and flew off.
And a few sponges soak up the water. But now that's about it. Everyone also in New Orleans, they all hid out at the Superdome, which is the stadium where the New Orleans Saints play, and it became like their safe haven. And there was a large portion of the city of New Orleans was staying in the Superdome. And at some point during the storm, the roof started leaking and water started pouring down. And so it just no power. It's just crazy.
Man.
So it was part of the reason why everyone was so excited that, when the Saints won the Super Bowl a couple years later. It was a whole thing to that. Sounded like you were going to say something, Brad. What's up?
Sure.
Oh, well, wasn't there one of those multi-million-dollar super churches owned by some
Joel Osteen,
asshole evangelical guy? Yeah, and he wouldn't let anyone stay at the church. No refugees.
It's pretty good. I'm pretty sure that's a passage in those. Might be the 11th commandment. I don't know.
Well, it's some commandment he made up.
On September 19th, North Korea agrees to stop building nuclear weapons in exchange for aid and cooperation. They refuse, however, to dismantle the George Bush voodoo doll, as it was credited as the inspiration for the agreement. On September 30th, controversial drawings of Muhammad are printed in a Danish newspaper, sparking outrage and violent riots by Muslims around the world. In a direct response, the Muslim Brotherhood, using marionettes, performed the Phantom of the Opera to mixed reviews. On October 19th, the trial of Saddam Hussein begins. Saddam declares the trial to be a farce and a sham due to the lack of legal representation and cable TV. He would later be found guilty on all counts and sentenced to death by hanging. His final meal was an Arby's beef and cheddar with a side of curly fries and an iced tea. On December 10th, Richard Pryor dies of a heart attack at the age of 65.
You're fucking kidding me.
Yes, in fact, almost this entire news section of 2005
I've noticed you've been adding little clips
is essentially a late night show monologue. That's what I.
And we're part of the studio
audience. And I've had a few chuckles. That's kind of funny because I'm trying not to laugh while everyone just sits there. It's like, is that actually what happened? No.
I'm picturing Saddam eating
I don't think that's his last meal.
Right he eats more horsey sauce.
He's got cheddar on his mustache.
Jesus on his mustache.
You forgot the horsey sauce.
Just yelling at the guards.
Yeah, you've been adding all that stuff at the end. I'm sure I've been making faces like on the webcam.
Your camera isn't showing you. It's like keeps kind of.
So yeah, just
pausing.
Oh, weird. Whatever.
Looks like it's lagging.
So, yeah, just for clarity here, when I was talking about the King Ka being open for the first time to the public at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey, that did happen on May 21st, and it was the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster. However, it was the distinction it held until another coaster came along, which wasn't called the One-Way Ticket to Heaven, and wasn't built and subsequently demolished, rebuilt, titled Fast Track to Hell. Not true. So there's that.
So let's go back over everything you've said.
Let's see. Let's another. Okay.
You want to tell everyone?
Controversial drawings of Muhammad did happen on September 30th in a Danish newspaper. It did spark outrage and violent riots by Muslims around the world. However, in a direct response, the Muslim Brotherhood did not actually perform the Phantom of the Opera using marionettes to mixed reviews.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? You know what's really funny? That didn't get me. Right. I thought about it, and I was like, what? Okay. But what got me was Saddam eating Arby's.
Oh yeah,
that's what got me.
That's just ridiculous.
I was like, sure, I bet I'm maybe somewhere the Muslim.
Well, we all know he loves Subway.
One time.
How is that even a response to the Muslim to Muhammad being printed in a Danish newspaper? What does the Phantom of the Opera using marionettes have to do with that at all? Mixed reviews. It was so people were like, it's not bad.
Mixed reviews.
I was going in thinking it wasn't going to be good.
Maybe they should have done something different with their lives.
These Muslims ain't bad, So this brotherhood, exactly.
Hell of a brotherhood.
On December 10th, Richard Pryor dies of a heart attack at the age of 65. Is an excerpt of someone talking about Richard. It says, as a stand-up comic writer and actor, he struck a chord and a nerve with America, forcing it to look at large social questions of race and more tragic aspects of the human condition. Though uncompromising in his wit, Pryor, like Mark Twain, projects a generosity of spirit that unites us. They were both trenchant social critics who spoke the truth, however outrageous. My Richard Pryor joke that I've chosen is one that I could say.
Be careful, yeah.
I'm not going to bother trying to do his impression. I'm not going to butcher, but it also probably doesn't work as well unless you kind of sound like Richard Pryor. And he says, "My father died fucking."
Right.
He did. My father was 57 when he died. The woman was 18. My father came and went at the same time. Yes.
Jesus.
Richard Pryor, just one of the all-time greats. Seriously, he inspired every comedian that you like today. Every one of them.
He was also great in that Superman movie.
Superman
Remember
4.
that one? Superman. It was 4 or 3.
I think it was 4. I think it was the
pile of shit.
Brewster's Millions.
But he was good.
Blazing Saddles. He wasn't in, but Mel Brooks sent him the script to get the okay to do the movie, and I believe Richard's response was, "You white people are crazy," and that was it. He got the okay. It was just an influential beyond. I mean, him and Carlin, and I think for the generation like in the 70s and whatnot, since up from there has been like the main two. So yeah, Richard Pryor, very, very funny, excellent comedian. And we will move on now to the entertainment, the top 10 movies gross of the year 2005. Number 10 was Hitch, with Will Smith and Kevin James.
Jesus.
Now I thought about it. This is the first time Will Smith showed signs of slapping people, and everyone thought it was a big joke in the movie. He starts doing that, making the pizza, doing that little dance there, and Will Smith slaps him. He was doing something Will Smith didn't approve of, and he slapped him, and it was in the trailer, it was in the movie, one of the biggest laughs of the movie. Well, who's laughing now? So that's what we get. On number 9 was Batman Begins, which was a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8 was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which it's the remake from the Willy and the Willy Wonka and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I saw that in theaters. Not very good. Not very good. Good thing Johnny Depp didn't keep that character. Good thing he wasn't him. Right.
Oh yeah.
He should have, but he should have been Hunter S. Thompson in
oh my God,
Charlie
that
and the
amazing.
Chocolate Factory, and handing out LSD laced candy to children.
Right.
Would have been a better movie.
Mushroom infused chocolates.
Sure.
Number 7, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is the Angelina Jolie Brad Pitt movie where they solidified their love. I saw that movie once.
Totally forgettable.
Exactly. I don't even. Yeah. Next was Madagascar, which is that DreamWorks Pictures movie of the animals that get taken from the zoo to the wild and have to make do. I guess I don't know.
And they all talking animals, right?
Yeah. The next one, King Kong, the Peter Jackson film, the first one after Lord of the Rings. King Kong, 3.5 hours long as well. Jack Black's in it. Adrian Brody's in it. Can't remember her name. She's a good actress.
Jack Black plays King Kong. Right?
He tried out for it. He tried out. But they just thought he was too, outlandish. They needed someone
Small?
to. Yeah. He didn't look apish enough. Yeah. So he didn't have the correct movements. The next one is War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Or the height.
No,
he
of
didn't
course
have the
not.
correct height.
War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, War of the Worlds. Yeah.
Steven Spielberg one. Yeah. That's a
Right,
pretty good movie.
I'll take the aliens dying
Kinda.
from that than I would over Signs any day of the week. Because it's a cold, it's a virus. It's probably not something they've even encountered before. And for us, it's just a few days of sore throats, runny noses, coughing, kills them. As opposed to water, which you can see on the goddamn planet.
Right. Of course.
Right. Yeah.
Also, the aliens in War of the Worlds looked a lot like the aliens from Independence Day, if I recall. But the sound that those ships made was really terrifying. And then people get shot with that beam that turns them into dust. Like that was pretty freaky.
People get
there's some good stuff in that movie.
That Tom Cruise manages to dodge the entire movie.
No, I think the most unbelievable thing of that entire movie is his son living. His son just takes off and just runs off into the war. I gotta help him, Dad. And it's like 14.
His son runs into a wall of fire. He runs over the hill and it's just a huge explosion of just a wall of fire comes up, and then at the end he shows up at the house like, "Hey, I'm okay, everyone."
I want to see that story.
Right.
Fuck what happened with Tom Cruise.
I like the guy with the shovel, the "Not my blood, not my blood."
Oh yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
You remember that part?
I remember 2 parts I'll mention. We'll move on here. The where they're putting all the people in that jail together, and they were just having this machine just pick them out one by one, and just toss them into the incinerator essentially, and everyone's fighting tooth and nail to not be selected, and it's just that's just freaky. And then the scene where they're down in the basement of some house, and the alien is looking for them, and they're trying to be as quiet as they possibly can. Just really suspenseful part. I thought it was pretty good.
And then Dakota Fanning screams. Oh, I can't stand that high pitched scream of hers in that movie constantly. It's just right on cue.
Oh yeah.
Number 3 movie of the year, Chronicles of Narnia: Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Watch that movie. Thought the what do you call it? The similarities, let's call them, between Christianity and this movie were pretty rampant. Interesting fact. It's funny because it's C.S. Lewis, who's a good friend of J.R.R. Tolkien, and Tolkien told Lewis while they were drinking in their famous coffee shop, or the coffee shop that became famous because they drank in it all the time, that a lamppost could never be included in a good fantasy novel. That was what Tolkien told Lewis, so that's why there's a lamppost in Chronicles of Narnia.
He sure showed him.
I think
Take
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
Tolkien.
That if anybody
Wow.
was like, why lamppost? Well, that's why lamppost, because of that. Um, I read the book afterwards. There was like this massive book that had like every Chronicle of Narnia in it, including the book that comes before The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I got to like Prince Caspian and I was done. Just yeah, it was okay. Um, there are better, from my opinion, fantasy novels out there, and so
Weren't there like groups of Christians
Mhm.
against that movie because they killed God in it or
I
something?
could see
Or
that. Not understanding that.
I
That's
was
kind of. I mean, what's his name? Aslan, I think his name is Aslan the lion. He's essentially Jesus, and he gets sacrificed and he comes back to life.
oh well that well that's just
Right,
the normal Christian
exactly.
story then. I don't. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie. I
But
don't
I could
know.
see why they would be like, I guess. Well, you know what? Actually, I don't know. So we'll move on. Star
I don't
Wars
know either.
Episode 3 is number 2, Revenge of the Sith. Watched this movie in theaters and then went and saw it the very next day again.
Hmm.
Only time, one of the few times I've ever done that, if not the only time.
Why?
Because at the time I was
Hmm.
with people and we were like, we're gonna go see Star Wars 3. I was like, okay, let's do it. And I didn't mind it. It was fascinating at that time to see the beginning of Darth Vader, the end of Anakin Skywalker in a sense, and the beginning of Darth Vader, to seeing how that all
Mhm.
actually transpired. Um, and then there were people that, I mean, we got out of that movie thinking that was the best of the 3 of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
And
it is, but it still
Definitely.
still
yeah,
sucks though.
it's not.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so we told some people, and they're like, we want to go see it. So the next day I went
No.
and watched it with them. So it was a different group of people that heard us talking about it that wanted to see it. So I went and
Oh,
saw it
okay.
again. But I mean, in terms of Star Wars movies, my favorite's Empire Strikes Back, and
Well,
then
of
I
course.
think we've got
Mhm.
probably the first movie, you know, or A New Hope, and then Return of the Jedi, and then probably Rogue One, and then yeah, probably I don't know. It's between The Force Awakens and Revenge of the Sith, and it doesn't really matter either one. They're kind of both,
Right.
yeah. So
Right. So I was wondering. I saw this. I just watched this scene the other day on YouTube, just kind of like in my recommended, and it's of course the infamous scene of Darth Vader, you know, telling Luke that he's his father.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I'm alone here or not, but Mark Hamill's acting is so
Oh,
bad. It
he's
is so
hamming it up.
so
This,
bad.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the cringiest goddamn thing I've ever seen.
No.
Yeah. That's impossible. God, I hate it so much. Like it could, like it's such a
Mhm.
great scene that like if anyone who's new to the series that it hasn't been spoiled, that's a hell of a thing to find out.
Yeah, it's quite the gut
And then you
punch.
get Mark Hamill, and then you get Mark Hamill's awful goddamn acting that doesn't compliment it at all. I don't know. I'm
No,
usually alone on that.
I've always
Well,
found that line reading to be
Yeah.
very weird. Um,
I mean,
It
Mark
was.
Hamill's no and reaction's better than, Darth Vader's first reaction learning that he killed Padme or was told that he killed Padme. You know the
Mhm.
no,
Right.
Like father, like son?
So
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
No. That's like their big thing.
yeah, that's
What
what
he says.
that's what
Yeah.
George Lucas said.
Yeah.
It goes, everything
guess
kind
so,
of
yeah.
cycles around. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Right.
Mhm.
I think maybe he accidentally did that and then tried to cover his tracks by saying.
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean George Lucas just made all this shit up as he went along. It doesn't even matter.
Right. Yeah.
All right, and the number one movie in terms of gross for the year 2005 was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That was Robert Pattinson's first movie. I think I saw that movie once, and I never bothered with it again. Just never watched it again. Not that I didn't like it.
I thought it was.
Not that I
I thought
didn't,
it was
but
pretty good.
I've just never.
Yeah,
I want to watch that movie. Yeah, it's not like that.
That part that movie was probably at the point of the series where I was like, okay, I gotta finish
Oh,
the
for sure.
rest of them. Because the ending where Voldemort
Mhm.
has Harry and he just killed Robinson's character.
Right.
That whole part is just crazy.
But he doesn't kill Harry. He monologues.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's how it is. Now we're going to go to my personal film selections of 2005. Walk the Line, which is a really good movie. Joaquin Phoenix. Wedding Crashers, another classic. Love Will Ferrell in that movie. Again, I'm just a big Will Ferrell fan in the early 2000s. It's just like every movie he was in, I was just like, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
The scene where I just
is that the one where he had the meatloaf?
Yeah. What? Wow, where's the meatloaf? Fuck. But I remember my favorite, where for me, I just died laughing, where there's a funeral, they're funeral crashing, right? And Owen Wilson's there, and he's there, but he's not too into it. Well, his character's there, like holding on with two women, screaming just the line, "Why, Roger? Damn it, Roger, damn it."
So good.
Fuck, Roger. Then I got A History of Violence. I thought that was a pretty decent movie. Again, I've only saw it once, but
it's got Cronenberg, isn't it?
It's got Aragorn. Yeah. Munich also came out in 2005. Munich, Steven Spielberg film. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy came out in 2005. Recommend the book movie as well. Very good, very good. Kind of a deep cut here. Lords of Dogtown. I just like that movie. I like skateboarding. I like watching movies on skateboarding. So it was interesting to see. And I think
that's a good one.
Heath Ledger does excellent in that movie. So there's a movie I want to talk about. See if you guys remember it. Grizzly Man. Do you remember that movie? Because that's going to be it's mentioned here.
Yeah,
that was a documentary, wasn't it?
This lunatic was going around hanging on with bears or whatever, and just like relishing in their poop. Like there's like a big section of the movie. It's just like there's its droppings. There's the poop. Oh, it's nice and warm. He just did it here, and I was like, what the hell's going on here?
What the fuck?
Yeah, and you're thinking like, how the
nuts. Man, I need to watch this movie.
Has he not gotten eaten yet, or someone, not a bear, attacked him? And then, well, you get to the end, and that.
Oh, Werner Herzog directed that.
The only
cool. I don't know why I haven't seen it.
It's a film that will never be heard by anybody, is because he was recording the whole thing. So there is the entire recording of him getting mauled to death by a bear. Dark parts of the internet there. But yeah, Grizzly Man. If you like bears, and you like crazy blonde-haired people, that's your movie.
And you like bears eating crazy.
Yeah. Cool. The next movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin, came out in 2005. Steve Carell. I remember watching that. I watched that before I watched The Office. All that stuff. Another movie that came out, Waiting. Just like that movie. It's ridiculous now, but liked it when it came out in 2005. The Boss. That guy, actor's hilarious. I just like his lines of like, how come we don't hang out? You know, we're basically the same guy.
Yeah.
Justin Long's like, no.
Yeah. Or the my other favorite line from that character is the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is just that little extra.
God. It's a lot of true stuff in terms of just complete asshole people that dine in at the restaurant, come in at the last minute, don't tip. You know, there's that redneck couple that comes in, and the guy's like, I'm gonna have, beer and this steak, and she'll have this, and he's like, you know what? You'll go ahead, get a soda. It's our anniversary.
Jesus, yeah, I remember that.
Holy fuck! So, and the last movie of 2005 that I'm gonna mention for personal film selections, Brokeback Mountain, came out in 2005. Very good movie. Very good
really
movie.
Good.
and it still
Yep.
has, I mean, the lines that I remember from that movie are the ones where, Jake Gyllenhaal's just like, he's just upset about the whole situation. He's just staring off into the mountain, where he just says, "I wish I knew how to quit you," you know. He's like, and he's like,
Yeah, that's like one of the most
"Oh yeah, if
iconic
not the
scenes in the
most." And
movie.
he's
Yeah.
just, "I wish," and then Heath Ledger's like,
Yeah.
"I wish you could. I wish you would. Just leave me alone," And it's really sad at the end. What happens to Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal's character? Very excellent film. I highly recommend it.
Oh yeah.
Now we're going to move on to worst movies of 2005, and I'm going to start um, with Stealth, the movie Stealth. It stars like Jessica Biel and I think like Jamie Foxx. Essentially, it's these Air Force or Navy pilots or whatever they are have to take down a renegade stealth bomber, whatever it is, that's just gone off on its own. Some new plane technology where it just went haywire, and now it has a mind of its own. And it's going to start a war with another country. So now they've got to take down this plane, and it bombed,
What? Okay.
panned. Nobody cared. Nobody watched it. So stealthily, it came and went. No one noticed.
Yeah, apparently this plane, it's an artificial intelligence on it, and then it got hit by lightning,
Oh,
and it turned bad.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it
Oh,
would just
God.
fry
that
things
reminds
and then fall out of the sky.
that Whitest Kids You Know, like a video of this guy like showing we can do this TV show or whatnot, and it's showing the guy's this
Oh,
black guy's
yeah.
like riding his bike, he gets struck by lightning, and then all of a sudden he's good at science and
Yeah.
math. It's just so fucking stupid. Oh
Right,
God,
yeah.
yep.
Yep,
Next
I remember
movie,
that.
worst movies of 2005, Elektra, which was not the sequel, but just a spin-off of an already terrible movie, Daredevil. It was already bad. No one liked it, and they decided to make
Jesus.
another, subplot sort of movie of this, Elektra.
How'd they get the money?
Jennifer
how'd that-
Gardner?
I mean,
I
come
don't
on.
know. I don't know. Some they did it. They did it either way. Daredevil did well enough, I guess, for them to justify that, but it was
Christ.
no. Another worst movies of 2005, Alone in the Dark, which has a Metascore of 9. Alone in the Dark is I think it's a supernatural type film, but it stars like Tara Reid and a couple other people. But it's considered one of the worst movies ever, and I've never seen it, which kind of upsets me and whatnot because I've seen a lot of really, really, really bad movies, and I guess this is one of them. That if I see it on a streaming
Yeah,
service,
it has a what? It has a 1% on
Yeah, it's
Rotten
bad.
Tomatoes.
I've watched.
It's on
I wa-
Tubi and Vudu
Eh,
for free,
Check that out.
and Amazon Prime
There it is.
for free. Just watch it, please. Please
Alone
watch
in the
this
Dark.
movie.
I've watched a 0% Rotten Tomatoes, the movie North, so this should be 1% better.
Oh God, yeah, that movie. God.
Another worst movie of 2005. Personal pick here, Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo.
Ooh,
The sequel, because that also got greenlit. Rob Schneider is this. This is that period in time when Rob Schneider was just, the South Park made a joke about it where, Rob Schneider is now, what does he say? Like he's a stapler or something? I don't know, but yeah, where he's the animal, he's
Yeah.
the hot chick, he's a gigolo,
He's the bane
right?
of humanity.
It's just and it's just getting into wacky adventures. So, but my choice for the top worst movie of 2005 is Son of the Mask. Son of the Mask, which is the sequel to the movie The Mask, came out in like 1993, 94. Jim Carrey. Except this one stars Jamie Kennedy, who again has made my worst movies list.
Oh my God.
As he did before with Malibu's Most Wanted, which got me thinking, if you could, like some like those cheap like $5 DVD bins you see at like Walmart or whatnot, if you could have like a double feature
Yeah.
of the worst movies you could for one actor, I think Jamie Kennedy's would have to be Son of the Mask and Malibu's Most Wanted. That'd be his double feature. And I'm trying to think of, it'd be kind of funny to think of another actors and actresses who've been in these really terrible movies. If you could have their double feature of just their worst two movies, what would it be? And which one would sell the most or the least? Um, but we'll move on to top albums now in terms of sales, 2005. Now that I did a little bit different here. So these albums came out in 2005, right? And these are the ones that, since they've come out, have sold the most. So even in 2006 and 7 and 8, all that stuff, what albums they're still selling? Maybe, obviously not as much, but this is up to date as of right now. The top albums that came out in 2005 that have sold. Robbie Williams album number 10, Intensive Care. Intensive Care. Robbie Williams is a UK-based pop singer that had a music video that I remember watching back in like the late 90s where he's dancing with some models and they're not paying attention to him. He's like in the middle of the dance floor or whatever. This thing that's like spinning around. Anyway, he starts like taking off his clothes and they don't care. So then he rips off his skin, swings it around like a lasso, tosses it at one of the models. They don't care. So now he's just like this bloody, muscled creature, and he starts ripping off his muscles and tossing it at the models. Then they start to notice, and then he turns into this cheap-looking CGI'd skeleton, and that's the music video, and it's fucking weird. Yeah, so that
I like the sound
check
of
that out. Number 9 was Black Eyed Peas, Monkey Business. Number 8 was Gorillaz, Demon Days. The next one we got 50 Cent, The Massacre, and that was actually the top-selling album of 2005, The Massacre. Got Carrie Underwood, Some Hearts. Yeah, Mariah Carey with The Emancipation of Mimi. And number 4, Madonna, Confessions on a Dance Floor. Apparently Madonna had another album out. I don't even remember that. But it's and number 3, Coldplay, X and Y. And number 2, Eminem, The Hits, The Curtain Call. He has the Greatest Hits album, and it's 2005. He's been around since like 99. Typically, it's got to be like a decade at least, maybe. I'd say. What's the statute of limitations in terms of getting out your greatest hits? But nope. Eminem, The Hits, Curtain Call, number 2, sold well enough, and number 1 was Nickelback, All the Right Reasons. Yeah, that was the top album in terms of gross of 2005. So yeah,
should have been called All the Wrong Reasons.
And my personal pick for 2005, we've got the White Stripes, Get Behind Me, Satan. And my other one,
that was their last album, I believe.
I think so, or maybe there was one more after. I think there was one more after this one. But my personal pick of 2000.
Oh yeah, Icky Thump was
Sigur Rós, Tak. That was the. That's my pick for 2005.
For sure.
Maybe their best album, maybe not. It's certainly up there. There's just like there was like one great album after another, so they're all kind of the same in that regard. So you just pick and choose whatever you're feeling. Yeah. In terms of worst, go on.
I did to say, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm moving on to worst albums. We've got Lindsay Lohan, A Little More Personal, an album that is don't even recall a single being released off that. Oh, it's a little bit more personal, right. And then in parentheses it says raw. Not sure exactly what that means. When I'm looking up worst rated albums and worst all of this for 2005, I kept coming across this guy named Bo Bice, and The Real Thing was the name of the album. I was like, who the fuck is Bo Bice? And he was an American Idol, winner, contestant. And I don't think he won the whole thing, but he was like number 2. Right. So kind of like how Clay Aiken and Ruben Studdard had albums. Bo Bice got his album, The Real Thing, one of the worst albums of the year. My choice for worst album of the year, though, goes to Mr. Scott Stapp with The Great Divide, his first solo effort after the breakup of Creed. Yes, right. Just bland rock in leather pants. Goddamn, Scott Stapp. I remember when he performed in the area, and some people I know, or at least one of the guys, the bassist for another band, they refused to play with him because it's Scott's this local small time band, just not much. And Scott Stapp is playing, and asked them to play, and they just said no. Even the small town, they're like, we're not playing with you, Scott Stapp. So, top songs of 2005. Number one song for 2005 is Mariah Carey's "We Belong Together," and I remember when she made her comeback. Not with too much, and just, oh, Mariah Carey's back, great. That was pretty much the gist of it. Didn't concern me. I wasn't either way. Just more pop music. What are you gonna do? Another song is Gwen Stefani's "Holla Back Girl," came out in 2005.
I remember.
This is the year you graduated, right, Brad? This is 2005. That is correct.
That is correct.
So, Kelly Clarkson's "Since You've Been Gone" also came out that year. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I remember being at a party once, and something must have happened with a couple of the girls and some guy or whatnot, because they were not in the mood to talk to anybody of the opposite sex. They all huddled together, drank like wine coolers and hard liquor, played this song on repeat and sang it, and it was the oddest party I'd been to in a while at that point. And I was terrified. I was like, what did I walk into? And they were just, yeah. So that's my memory of that song. Another song that came out in 2005 is Ciara featuring Missy Elliott, "One Two Step." Another generic pop song. Kanye West came out with a song featuring Jamie Foxx, "Gold Digger." It's a sample from the Ray Charles song, which if you were to ask, if just listen to the original, take the sample, just go with the sample. Much better song in every conceivable way. Every conceivable way. It takes everything that Ray Charles did and just, somehow, it just doesn't work for me. "Gold Digger," Kanye West. A song came out, big song for Green Day this year, was "Boulevard of Broken Dreams." There's a couple others as well, because this was American Idiot year. But I chose that one because that one seemed to be the one that stuck out the most. That or "Wake Me Up When September Ends." But "Boulevard of Broken Dreams." 50 Cent featuring Olivia, "Candy Shop," came out in 2005. I remember Timmy karaokeing that song, and that was fucking hilarious.
What?
He can't sing.
Man.
He only does the harmony. And he can't really rap.
And that.
So it was a beautiful. And the thing is, it wasn't even the worst karaoke I'd heard that night. Because I think he was like, "We'll take you to the candy shop," just tone deaf. But
Yeah.
I witnessed somebody get up there to sing. I believe it was "Achy Breaky Heart" by Billy Ray Cyrus, and she got up there to sing "Achy Breaky Heart." The song started, the lyrics appeared on the screen, and she just stared because she couldn't figure out that when it started filling in, with color, start singing the song. She had no idea.
Yeah,
no idea.
Along, yeah.
My brother got up there
Jesus
to try and help
Christ.
her out, as it was his girlfriend, and didn't work.
He couldn't
No,
figure it out
he
either.
got it. He got it down. He just, even with him helping her out and just basically telling her, showing her how to do when to sing, she still stood. She stared ahead like deer in the headlights. Maybe it was stage fright. I don't know, but it was
Yeah, that sounds like horrible
Yeah.
stage fright.
so
Just
it
flares
was
up.
it was rough to see. Not to say. Another song that came out in 2005 was the Pussycat Dolls featuring Busta Rhymes with "Don't Ya," which was my ring back tone for a little while, and a song that played on my MySpace page, I think, as well. I'm pretty sure.
Is that the song that goes, "Don't you want a girlfriend
Yeah.
like me? Don't you want
Yeah.
a freak like me?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you?"
Don't you
Don't
wish
ya?
your girlfriend was hot like me or something like that? Don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so people wouldn't call me. So when they knew if they called me,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure
they're
that
gonna
worked.
get that, and so no one will call me. It was great. I miss that. I miss the ringback tones.
And anyone that calls you, you can see
Yeah,
who's
just
calling
let
and just
that phone ring.
just let them be tortured. Yeah.
Another song that came out in 2005, Lifehouse, You and Me. Yep.
Yeesh.
One day is real.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Another
Yeah,
song
yeah.
that came out in The Killers, Mr. Brightside, which isn't a bad song. Rihanna graced us with her presence for the very first time with the song Pon de Replay. And I remember the music video for this being really cheesy. And I remember thinking, this is a one-hit wonder. We'll never hear from Rihanna again. Yep. The next song that came out
Boy,
and
how
voted
wrong
one of the
were
worst
you?
songs of 2005 by a lot of people. And I think this has to do with how good their earlier work was and where they're at now, or at least in 2005, was Weezer's Beverly Hills. A lot of hate for that song.
That was 2005?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's pretty, again, pretty generic. Not terrible, but nothing really to write home about. Yeah.
Right.
Another song that came out in 2005 was the Black Eyed Peas, My Humps, which is a terrible song. Incredibly stupid song. Very annoying, lyrically just trash, just really bad. But people still bought it. People still loved it. It gives you hope that you can literally just do whatever, and you know what? You're probably going to be all right. If My Humps, it's just such a ridiculous idea, and people still did it. Still all right. Yeah, My Humps. Another song that came out in 2005, Fall Out Boys, Sugar, We're Going Down. I remember hearing this song and kind of laughing at the guy's voice. That was my main takeaway from that. Because there's that. He's like, where did he say like a number one with a bullet? But he's like, number one with the bullet. Yeah, it's just like this. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me when he's singing it.
I heard it
Oh, yeah.
and I loved it, and I bought a sophomore album. Then I got into, then I bought their first album, and yeah, I mean that's basically the
That's where it
extent
started.
of my Fall Out Boy.
That's
That's where it
also
started,
ended,
but it
yeah.
ended as well because I only really liked that album and the album
Gotcha.
that came before that, and I still do today, honestly.
Like I said, my
Nostalgic
first
at this
impression of Fall Out Boy with Sugar, We're Going Down. I saw the music video with the kid with like deer antlers. Didn't understand that. I remember just bringing it up at work at the time, and there was people that were my age and whatnot, and they all liked it. I didn't hate it. I just thought the guy's voice was funny. So we'll move on to Nickelback.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Kind of like oh man, there's that band that you also had a ridiculous Newfound Glory. That guy had like that nasally.
That's gonna come out. That's gonna come out soon.
That
I think.
too, yeah.
I didn't see any Newfound Glory this year, but
yeah,
I think they already were around. They were already around, but I don't know if they'd hit it big. You just
they were.
Maybe next year.
Right.
We'll see. God, that fucking band. I saw them in concert. Terrible. I saw Nickelback's Photograph, probably the most memed Nickelback song of all time.
Yes, definitely.
It's just like there's so many remakes of it where it's just literally the line, "Look at this photograph" over and over again. Look at this photograph.
Well,
right.
No, my favorite was they took out photos. It was just look at this graph,
right.
And it's just a
graph.
Just holding a graph,
right.
And he just holds it.
God. Then we got Gorillaz, Feel Good Inc. I also selected for 2005. Honorable mentions. I chose two songs from Talk, if you couldn't guess. Milano and Happy Pala. Happy Pala because it was probably the first song that... This would be the song that I would introduce Sigur Rós to people to Sigur Rós to. I would use Happy Pala. It just seemed to be... It wasn't, 9 minutes long. And it was... Yeah, it's a good one to start off with. But yeah, Happy Pala. My worst songs of 2005, I have the Yin Yang Twins with "Wait," the Whisper song, which is a creepy song. Creeped me out when I heard that. Just these two guys just whispering the entire time, and I don't know if it's supposed to be like sensual or whatnot, but it just made me feel dirty and weird, like someone was whispering in my ear, and I just didn't want to hear it. Another song, the worst songs, was "Simple Plan," "Welcome to My Life." Do you ever feel like breaking it down?
Oh my god!
Do you ever feel bad, boy? It's just this. The guy's like 35. He's like almost. He's pushing 40. And he's talking about like
he's trying.
Right.
He's trying to.
I'm in my room listening to my music. My parents don't understand me. Welcome to my life.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's they did "I'm Just a Kid,"
but he's not.
You know,
he's
they did that song.
He's almost a senior citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. He's almost a senior citizen.
Fucking hell. But yeah, I remember that song for like the new guy. Yeah. I'm just a kid. Life is a nightmare.
Yeah.
God, I can't stand it. Whiny shit. I'm going back and forth here between choosing my worst song of the year. But I think I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna pick that one. We're gonna go with the second to worst song, but also could be switched. I guess maybe it's like a 1A. Daniel Powter, "Bad Day." Such an awful
Oh my
song.
god!
Oh, fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! God damn it!
Because you had a bad day.
Shut the hell up!
Turn it around.
No.
God damn it!
You had a bad day. It's just like.
I don't even remember the verses of that. It's just that chorus repeating over and over again. Oh yeah,
just over and over again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just not
yeah.
good. So, thank you. The bad day turned into a bad week to a bad year. Seems to be bad life.
Bad life.
Bad job, Daniel Powter. Fuck you.
Right, yeah.
Fuck you, Daniel Powter. And number one, worst song of 2005, R. Kelly, "Trapped in a Closet." God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
I prefer Weird Al's "Trapped in the Drive-Thru."
Oh yeah, that's really
Everything that I almost always prefer the Weird Al version to the actual song.
Right.
But
yeah.
like I remember hearing this song, or hearing about it, and then listening to it, and I couldn't believe it that it was serious. And like it was just like, and we're going in the closet, and the closet. He learns closet like 8 fucking times in a row, just talking about the closet, and I just where he was and where he was trapped. Fucking terrible. And that will do for my worst songs of 2005. TV shows that debuted in the year 2005. We've got How I Met Your Mother, which I've never seen. I've never really wanted to see.
Never seen it.
Nope, me either.
Another show is Supernatural, which I watched the first episode.
Just move on.
And that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Now we've got one that debuted in 2005 that I absolutely love up into the 7th season. The Office. The Office debuted in 2005 for the American version of The Office. I didn't watch any of the first season. And I didn't watch, I don't think, any of the second season. I didn't watch The Office till right before its 3rd season started. A friend of mine suggested that I watch this show, The Office. And normally I ignore his suggestions, but I decided on a chance to take up on it, so I did. And I absolutely loved the American version. I thought it was hilarious. The first 2 seasons, first 3 seasons especially, you know what? The first 4 seasons are really, really good. The first 4 seasons are really, really good. The 4th season may be the best, even with the writer's strike, which is why there was only like a small amount of episodes that year. But after that point, I think it became, as most shows do, you just can't help it. It's just how it works. They become characters of themselves. The situations just get more outlandish. They lose the special, you know, what they had earlier. Go on.
So, do you have a favorite Michael Scott quote?
Oh,
I'm
Off
sure you
top of my
probably
head,
do
if
at least
you have
one that
one
you
off
can
top of
think
your head,
of.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have one. When he goes, "I'm not superstitious, but
All right,
I'm a
yeah.
little stitious." Yeah.
um, I mean, so many Dwight, you ignorant slut. I love, when it's just like so
Oh,
many.
that's a great one.
The thing is, what Steve Carell is, they'd all be sitting in the writers' room trying to think of. They're just stuck on this scene. They couldn't think of a good joke. Steve Carell came in and be like, "What's taking so
Mhm.
long?" And like, "We're stuck here." And Steve, he hears it, boom, comes out with a joke that's funnier than anything they've even thought of in hours, and they use that. And it's just that's the
Right.
genius of Steve Carell. And I couldn't. I
Mhm.
mean, I can think of my favorite. I think my favorite episode of season one is probably if not the drug testing one, where Dwight finds a joint on the, yeah,
Oh
um,
yeah.
or the sexual harassment one is pretty funny too. The Dundies in season two,
Mhm.
um, just so many
Mm.
fucking
Scott's Tots.
God,
was
that's
hor-
so
that was
awkward.
that's a
Yeah,
hard
it's
one to
so
watch.
bad. Not bad, but
Oh,
just like so
I
bad to watch. Like
like
hard,
the other.
but
I have
fun.
another quote that was really funny. I just thought of when he's like he wants to start dating online, so he makes an online profile, like a
Mm.
dating profile or whatever, and he makes his name. He's like, and I got to come up with a name, little kid lover, so that way people know where my priorities are.
He said he wanted to be he's open to children, so he's like a little kid lover. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
There was a quote from I think it's a later season. I think it's after like Dwight's working at Staples or
Yeah.
whatever, or something like that. And Michael Scott comes in and he
yeah.
says, "It takes a big man to admit his mistake, and I am that big man."
Oh my God, one of my favorites where it's just like it's the very first scene of an episode where he pulls up in his PT Cruiser with the top down and he just looks at the
Oh,
camera
no.
and says, "It's Brittany, bitch." Doesn't make any sense. Just
Oh,
such
man.
a funny
That's
show.
so awesome.
Such a funny show.
Mhm.
It's launched the careers of a number of people, and the reason I think it became as successful as it did, a big part of that was the success of 40-Year-Old Virgin, because everyone got to see Steve Carell, and that movie did really well. And so now, okay, this guy that was really funny in this movie's on this TV show. We're gonna watch it, and yeah, it really took off after the 40-Year-Old Virgin gained popularity. So yeah, The Office, one of the best shows, one of the maybe the greatest recreating of the American version from a UK version of a show. Like probably I can't just
Mhm. Well, no, I had you could argue Shameless.
you could. I forget about.
You could
Well,
argue
and the thing
Shameless
is
as
with
well.
Seamus, just like The Office,
Yeah.
it should have ended a few seasons ago. Like it just became the same
Right.
sort of thing. And
You're
so
right.
yeah, I could see them being on the exact same level. I agree.
Mhm.
We'll move on though. Grey's Anatomy came out in 2005. Is still going on today. It will never end. I don't know why.
Cool.
Almost in the same
Christ.
vein, but although I love this show, I love the people on the show. I've watched their podcasts. I've watched all sorts of stuff. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia debuts
Oh,
in
God.
2005.
Right.
Another show that's gone past its time and should just stop. But more power to them to keep going.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, yeah, I guess, but yeah. Honestly, the thing is though, man, is that I've they have hit or misses
Yep.
these days. Right? It used to be
All
hit
right.
after hit after
Right.
hit after hit.
Mhm.
But it's hit or misses.
Do you have a favorite scene from the first season? I remember the moment that I knew I was going to love this show. I knew the moment because I was just like
Mhm.
girl I was dating at the time was like, hey, we're going to watch this show, and I'd never seen it. And watching the pilot episode,
Right.
and there's two guys. I think two black guys are playing like dice or dominoes or something like that. I think it's dominoes. And Mac walks up. They're all like cheering on, and he's like, absolutely. And he
Yeah.
says it in such a way, and
Oh, yeah.
everyone just kind of stops and stares at
Yeah.
him. And I just died. I fucking died.
Mhm.
And all he had to say was absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
and I was done. And Charlie gets cancer. Just every or
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
it's so ridiculous. And then Danny DeVito joins. My favorite episode is
Right.
I think it's Sweet D has a heart attack. The Pepe Sylvia. That
Mm.
That's
Pepe Sylvia,
whole-
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
It's just I love it.
The first episode I watched, the TiVo recorded it.
Oh, really?
'Cause I had it, recording it. Yeah, it just did like it was like a recommended thing, like TiVo, like I'd record shows and then it would be like, hey, I recorded this show for you because I think you might like it. So thanks TiVo, but the first episode I watched was Gang Finds a
Oh,
Dumpster
nice.
Baby, and I was like, this show is incredible.
Yeah, because
I was like, I have to watch this.
they bring
Yeah.
it in, and then Frank's all
Yeah.
like, well, they're like, we found this baby out there, and he's like, well, put it back
Yeah.
where you found it, or something like that.
Right, yeah, and I like how they're just trying to make money.
They
off
try
the
to take a
baby.
tanning.
want-
Trying to get it in like commercials. Yeah, yeah, exactly. God, it's so funny.
Oh yeah, because they didn't want the white baby market was saturated, so yeah, they tried to give it a
Right.
tan to make it look more like Mexican
Yeah.
or what. It just God.
it's so ridiculous.
Another show that.
Yeah, and that's Charlie finds the scimitar in
Mhm.
the trash.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
it's
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
All I'm
It's
sorry,
it's
continue.
just a excellent show. I mean, it was very very strong for
Yeah.
much longer than most sitcoms are. It was into its 10th, 11th
Right.
season, and it was still solid. Usually by 7 seasons in, that's your lifespan as a sitcom. But no, and they're still going. So more power to them. Their podcast is really
Yeah.
cool too. It's really interesting to see them talk about.
Yeah, it's a really good podcast.
Talk about it. So
Oh, I love it.
my
I haven't missed
I like the one where they all got
single
drunk
episode,
for St. Patty's Day. That was funny.
Oh yeah.
We'll move
that was
on
good.
here. The next show, another show that came out for 2005 or in 2005, Weeds. I thought that was a decent show, pretty good for the first 3 seasons, maybe 4, and then it just got ridiculous, and I just didn't care anymore. Love Kevin Nealon in that. He's the best, and the guy who plays Andy. They're probably the best, I'd say. And the reason why anybody would watch. Another show that came out in 2005, Extras, the Ricky Gervais show, which is
Oh, nice.
such a good show.
Yeah.
Such
Love
a good
that show.
Yes, incredible.
I love the theme
my God.
song, or the song that plays when they are finished with the show. It is a Cat Stevens song that I was like really looking forward to. Like, it's called "Tea for the Tillerman," and you're thinking, "Oh, this is a really good song," and it's like a minute. It's a minute long.
Yeah.
It's like a minute long.
Right. It's oh man, it's the one song
was
I
longer,
always wish that was
But no,
longer.
it's only a minute, which makes sense. And it's
Yeah.
the end. It's perfect.
But I
And
think that's the beauty of it,
Yeah.
though.
so.
It's yeah.
Just extras. I love Patrick Stewart's turn on that show. Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of that whole show.
Oh,
Daniel
yeah,
Radcliffe
he's good
probably
too.
my
Yep.
favorite.
It's David Bowie.
hmm
When it,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
fat chubby man. He's just fun of him.
Oh no.
Stupid little fat man.
What was it?
Oh
Ben
yes,
Stiller.
his first
His part
episode.
was
Oh my god,
hysterical. Oh my god.
he plays
dude.
an arrogant prick so well.
So funny.
He does.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really does.
I mean, he did the same sort
Yeah.
of deal with Curb as well when they were Larry and him were trying to do the producers. Yeah.
I'm a nerd.
I'm sorry. Did you?
I'm a nerd. I'm sorry. Who are you? Who are you? Nobody. Yeah, nobody.
Another show that came out in 2005, Robot Chicken, came out.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I forgot about
the,
that show.
One scene that I remember that stuck with me was it's like this toy is like looking at 2 doors, and one says "Do not enter," and the other says "Use other door." And so it's just these 2 doors that say that, and he looks back and forth between both doors. He doesn't know what to do, and that's
Yeah,
it.
and that's
yeah,
it.
I just remember laughing at that. That was pretty funny. Another show that came out in 2005, The Colbert Report, which I didn't know it was fuck Stephen Colbert was at that time, but I watched one episode and I was like, oh god, this is funny. And he did that shtick for a number of years. And there's one of the funniest parts about it is conservatives didn't even realize he was mocking them. They would invite him on the show. They thought like Bill O'Reilly invited Stephen Colbert. So
Oh yeah, that
Top
was great.
top TV
Great
shows of
episode.
2005. 24 had reclaimed. Most likely due to the fear mongering that was going on to get Bush reelected. People needed to be afraid of the terrorists a bit more. They'd taken a break for a year or so. Another show that came out in 2005, as well as was one of the top shows, was Prison Break. And I heard that the first season of Prison Break is excellent. But they break out of the prison, and there's a season 2. It doesn't make any sense. It seems like a one-off show.
What?
They didn't think too far ahead. They had everything
Right.
written out, which was perfect, and how they would get out of the prison and all that stuff. It was really cool, I guess. But they did it, and they didn't think, well, what's the next step? So it just became really bad after that. Another show, top TV show that came out in 2005, Rome came out. I never saw it, but I've heard good things. The Shield, Battlestar Galactica, and The Closer were another show, a set of shows that came out in 2005. That were the top shows, not just that they came out, that they were the top shows of 2005. My worst TV shows of 2005 is Hogan Knows Best, which was the reality TV show on VH1 of Hulk Hogan and his family. The Hulk Hogan and his wife are insane, or his wife at the time were insane. Their kids are assholes, and I don't know why anybody would watch this show. I did. It's just really weird stuff. The double standards that they have for the male child as opposed to his daughter, the creepiness between Hogan and his daughter. It's like he can't distinguish. It's weird. Yeah, I remember, and his son Nick, it just seems like this spoiled shithead, which came to a close with him getting in a car wreck because he drove like an asshole and paralyzing some other kid and almost having to go to jail. Normally, any people would go to jail for that sort of shit, but since it's Hulk Hogan's son, he got away with it. And
yeah, I
some
remember
poor
that
kid's
happening.
paralyzed now because Nick Hogan's a prick.
Yeah, it's too bad such a great actor like Hulk Hogan, such a fall from grace.
Another worst TV show. Oh, sorry.
He was great. He was great in Suburban Commando.
Was good. There's another one too. I was trying to think of.
Mr. Nan. No, Mr. Nan. No, Mr.
Was
Nanny.
Michael Keaton.
Was that Michael Keaton? Shit, he played like a nanny type.
That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah.
Movie.
Oh well, doesn't. Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Hulk
matter.
Hogan. What a guy. Another worst
Yes.
TV shows of 2005. My Super Sweet 16, which is the reality TV show about extremely spoiled children, 16-year-old girls usually, throwing their 16th birthday party, Sweet 16, and being spent. The money spent on one of those parties is more than I'd probably make in a lifetime. It's just ridiculous, and they're just bratty, spoiled, self-indulgent, just bitches, and I don't know why anybody the fuck would watch it.
Yeah, and then they get pregnant, and then they're on 16 and pregnant.
That's usually how it goes. They just run you through the MTV circle, and then you're in the real world.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But my worst TV show of 2005 was Mind of Mencia. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Terrible show.
I never watched it. That was on Fox, wasn't it? So just very short-lived.
Surprised they didn't copy other people's plots and whatnot from other people's sitcom shows.
I mean, he probably did. I never
Yeah,
watched the show.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to video games now, released in 2005. We have for the GameCube, Resident Evil 4 was released on January 11th. And for the PlayStation 2, it was released on October 25th, which is a huge jump. GameCube earlier in the year, PlayStation 2 much later. Resident Evil 4. Xbox released Ninja Gaiden Black on September 20th. On March 22nd, the PlayStation 2 released God of War. And October 25th, the PC released Civilization 4. PlayStation 2 Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance. December 22nd. On Xbox, Forza Motorsport was released on May 3rd. November 7th for the PlayStation 2, Guitar Hero was released. Guitar Hero. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember people love it. It was a fun game. It was a fun game. And I like the there's like the rock band that came out with it as well. Where you got this microphone and you had to sing, right? And I come to find out that you don't actually have to sing. That you can just hit the note and just hold it.
Yeah, you can just do the
pitch.
pitches.
You do the right pitch and you get it, right? And so I would just pitch, and if you were to take out, if you were like a third person, like just like sitting outside the room and just listening to it, it would just sound like people beating on plastic with someone going, just horrible. But it works. I got like 100% on every single one. I actually broke the girl I was dating at the time. I was a senior or whatever. She had it wasn't Guitar Hero because it wasn't out yet, but it was some other game that used like the same sort of technology. And I got the high score, but I broke her microphone doing it. Another game that came out for the PlayStation 2, Shadow of the Colossus, came out on October 18th. Battlefield 2 for the PC was released on June 21st of 2005, and Psychonauts for the Xbox was released on April 19th. For terms of video games released in 2005, there's some decent ones. There's some pretty good, okay ones. But it's not like 2004. 2004 was insane with video games. It was like one classic after another. So you can't win every year, video games. And my choice for worst video game of 2005 is a game that was not released in the United States. It was released in the UK and the European Union. Lula 3D for the PC, released on June 22nd. Lula 3D is an adventure game where the player controls Lula, an adult actress who must save her kidnapped co-stars to shoot her next erotic movie. She can be turned using the mouse and moved using the keyboard from a third-person perspective, although attempting to move and turn at the same time can sometimes lead the game to crash. The plot is 3 porn star triplets are abducted from Lula's house, and she decides to rescue them. After finding her keys, Lula leaves her home in Beverly Hills, travels to San Francisco, Las Vegas, and New Orleans to rescue them. Reaction to the game: Lula 3D holds a score of 28 out of 100 on Metacritic, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Critics panned the game for its technical issues and flat humor, and also panned its reported bouncing boobs technology as being unrealistic and childish for a mature game.
Jesus Christ.
Eurogamer's Ellie Gibson believed that the game's low quality and childish humor made Lula 3D feel like an erotic adventure that was developed by and intended for 12-year-old boys, and would make you feel like you've just lost 12 years of your life and leave you wishing that you had some kind of mind bulimia so you could sick it all up and start again, which I believe is throw it all up. It's just a slang in England. In particular, she criticized its subpar translations, poor sound design, and mediocre graphical quality. PC Zone described the game as being so inexorably, mind-bogglingly ignorant of how either real games or real sex works that it spread eagles itself into a fair way into the so bad it's good category. The game was considered oddly compelling for its quality, which the reviewer compared to all 10 minutes of Michelle from Big Brother deck out in cheap purple underwear, staring slack-jawed into the camera on the midnight preview on Television X. So it must be some program in England. The reviewer felt that the bouncing boobs technology was realistic. Oh, no, sorry. The reviewer felt that if the bouncing boobs technology was realistic, then I've clearly been talking to the wrong kinds of girls for the entirety of my life, or at least the most recent bits of my life in which I've been talking to girls. And that is the worst video game of 2005. A rather strange, kind of point and click video game there that just, yeah, kind of like in the same vein of like the Guy game. Just
yeah, I was gonna say this is the second adult-oriented video game that has been the worst.
It's just one of those like, I mean, there's other ones. There was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was also terrible. there was something about finding like
Yeah.
Chicago and Streets Enforcer, where you're just this shitty cop, but it was just graphically bad. Controls are bad.
Oh, no.
It's just your basic bad ones. One of the issues I'm with games that I try and find a game that's like not just bad, but like just concept bad, and the funniest in terms of like reviews I've heard. I like the line where the game spread eagles itself into.
Yeah, that's poetry right there.
I'm looking for poetry. All right, guys. And we'll move on now to final thoughts. 4 years removed from 9/11, the United States had invaded Afghanistan and Iraq, liberated the Iraqis, and captured and started the trial of Saddam Hussein. In the minds of many Americans, the events on 9/11 were a distant memory. In place of fighting terror, or the war on terror, was Operation Iraqi Freedom. Instead of hunting Osama bin Laden, the United States went after Saddam Hussein over the fear of WMDs, both fear and WMDs in strong quotation marks. Despite the numerous missteps of the Bush administration, George Bush was reelected for a second and final term. To the majority of Americans who voted against him, many for the first time, it was a bitter pill to swallow. The silver lining being that it was only 4 more years and he couldn't run again. However, Bush's second term, in many ways, was considerably worse than his first. By the time he left office, Bush's approval rating was 25%, one of the lowest in U.S. history. From Hurricane Katrina to enacting the rampant deregulation of Wall Street, which significantly helped cause the almost complete meltdown of the world economy, Bush left office looking like he spent 80 years in office, instead of 8. After he was gone, the majority of the U.S. and the world sighed with relief. The nightmare was over. Of course, at the start of 2005, we were blissfully unaware of what lay on the horizon. For we had just found out R. Kelly was trapped in a closet. A hip opera of situational rhyming fixated the nation the same way a hypnotist entrances a patient. Although, by the third signal, we had all decided we'd heard enough. Society decided it was best to not only keep R. Kelly in the closet, but to lock him in there. Although the jury is still out on who decided to give Bill Cosby the key. And with that, I hope you enjoyed our conversation and will join us again for another installment of History with Hersaphat. Don't forget to hydrate, exercise, and to like and subscribe to the podcast. All these things are essential for your health and well-being. Take care of yourselves and each other.